What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another transfer update video. The best place to keep it locked when you want your daily dose of Arsenal news, people. Keep it locked. Keep liking, keep subscribing, and keep commenting. Really appreciate all your interaction and support on the channel. And big up everyone who supported the sponsorship we had on the channel yesterday. Really appreciate it. Let's get straight into it, people. The latest transfer news coming out of Arsenal. Now, we're all kind of waiting for this Tielemans deal to be completed. Rumours again today that he's available for £30 million and that Leicester now have to sell players in order to bring players in, which I don't think Brendan Rodgers is too happy about. Now, the latest story today is that Arsenal could actually do a double swoop on Leicester. You know, like London buses, they say you wait for one and then two turn up at once. Arsenal being linked again today with a move for James Maddison, a player that they were linked with last season. It was believed we signed Martin Odegaard ahead of James Maddison. Well, today Arsenal are being linked with James Maddison. Maddison has had an offer rejected by Newcastle of £50 million. He's being linked with a potential move to Arsenal. Now, before we kind of delve into this, I would say I'm not sure how concrete this situation is. I don't know if the agent is using Arsenal's interest from last year to try and force a move to Newcastle, to try and get Newcastle to maybe pay a little bit more money for him. Sometimes clubs panic when they think another club is coming for that player and they offer a little bit more. Would you still take Maddison at Arsenal? I have to admit, when we were linked with Maddison, I like him. He's a goal-scoring attacking midfielder. I just don't know where you put him in this team. Odegaard's just took the captain's armband. I'm just not sure if Maddison, you know, does he get into the team? I mean, maybe he does. I mean, last season, 12 goals and 8 assists in the Premier League is definitely a very good season at a Leicester team that weren't pulling up trees last year. So he definitely had a good season last year. 14 goals and 10 assists in all competitions. I would say is very impressive for a guy that, you know, was playing for a team that only just finished above mid-table last season. So still no doubt in his quality. Still only 25 years of age. It's believed Leicester wants £60 million for him. Listen, I'm going to be totally honest. I like Maddison and I would take him. But I just don't think he plays in a position that Arsenal really need to go and get. With Vieira coming in, with Odegaard, I just don't see where Maddison fits into this Arsenal team. A year ago, I think we'd have definitely had a different discussion at that point. James Maddison being linked with Arsenal. Now, his teammate, Tielemans, I'm literally getting bored of talking about him. Daily Yuri, as we're now calling it. Again, as I said, people, Leicester apparently only want £30 million for him. They're willing to let him go for 30 mil. What are Arsenal waiting for? Just get the deal done and dusted and bring him to the club. As I said, I think a lot of it is down to offloading players. So let's talk about offloading players, people. Bernd Leno, deal agreed. Details of that deal have been announced by David Ornstein. Leno has agreed everything with Fulham. We're just waiting for an announcement. One thing that I thought was crazy about this deal, if I'm being honest, is that the deal now, Arsenal get an initial £3 million up front. They get another $1 million based on Premier League appearances, so that's 4. They get an additional £2 million if they stay in the Premier League or once they stay in the league for a year. So in reality, they could get relegated and not get back in the Prem for 5 years and we wouldn't get that £2 million. They also get another £2 million once they stay in the Premier League for a second year. So, you know, we could potentially end up with £4 million for Bernd Leno and be waiting years for that additional £4 million. They have to stay in the league for 2 years for Arsenal to get the other 4. I think it's a pretty poor deal, if I'm being honest. But it seems as if there's a desperation from Arsenal to clear the wage bill. Leno earns just under 100,000 a week. And I think everybody was just, really desperate to get him out the door despite his qualities. So, not a great deal on paper. Arsenal certainly don't pull up trees when it comes to selling players, that is for sure. Bernd Leno, first one looks like he's on his way out. Following Balogun on his way to Reims in France. He's in France completing his medical. 1 year loan deal, no option to buy. They're in Ligue 1. It's a great opportunity for him to get first team football. He was at Middlesbrough last year in the Championship for half a season. This year, he will get a full year in the top level of French football, playing against the likes of PSG, Lyon and Marseille. Be great experience for him, and if he does well, I do think he will have a chance at Arsenal, but he does need to score goals and prove that he can play at that level. I heard he was okay for Middlesbrough without being spectacular. So there's number 2 on the list. Number 3 on the list, Lucas Torreira, set to fly to Turkey for talks with Galatasaray. It's believed they just have to discuss personal terms. He earns around 75 grand a week, which is a high wage, especially in the Turkish league. But it's believed Galatasaray are willing to make an exception for him. It's more a case of whether they can convince him to join them in the Turkish league. I think he was very keen to go to Italy or to Spain, but Arsenal willing to accept apparently 5.5 million with an additional 2 million in add-ons, equating to 7.5 million. A player that we paid 25 million pounds for, getting 7.5 million. And also with Leno, 19 million and getting 8 million at best. So again, bad business by Arsenal. Number 4 on that list, Pablo Mari. His agent is flying to Italy to have talks with Monza, who want to sign him on a permanent deal. Again, the discussion will be around wages. He earns £70,000 a week. The wages will be too high. It could be a case of Arsenal paying part of his wage in order to supplement what he would miss out on if he joined the club. So Pablo Mari's agent is flying to Italy for talks with Monza about a potential move. Again, for me, Pablo Mari, I don't particularly rate him. I think with Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, Rob Holding signed a new contract, obviously the English quota as well. Pablo Mari for me is somebody that I would move on and get that 70 grand a week if possible off the wages. So Pablo Mari looks as if he is on his way out as well. And number 6 on the list, Hector Bellerin, people. Still in discussions about joining Real Betis. He had a good loan spell there last year, won the Copa del Rey, and he wants to join them. But again, they can't afford the £100,000 a week wages and a significant transfer fee. Looks as if Arsenal are going to accept a very, very low deal for him. It could even be a free transfer with a 25% sell-on clause, similar to what Dele Alli did when he left Tottenham for Everton. They allowed the player to go for free with a high sell-on clause in the hope that the player gets bought in the future for an inflated amount and you make some money back there. Betis saying the only way that they can pay the 100,000 a week if they don't have to pay a transfer fee to Arsenal. I think Bellerin will end up at Real Betis. We played Brentford behind closed doors last week. He wasn't even on the bench, and he didn't play against Sevilla at the weekend either. He was on the bench, didn't come on, and spent most of his warm-up waving to the fans. Seemed to be a clear indication that he was on his way out, and we'll have to see what happens with that one. So 6 players look to be heading out. Leno and Balogun look to be the closest. I think Torreira and Pablo Mari will maybe be the next couple after that. Arsenal look like they're clearing the wage bill in order to bring a couple of players in. Now, finally, people, before we finish, Cody Gakpo, we spoke about him yesterday. Got mixed reviews on him in the comments. Some of you were saying it's Pepe Part 2. Hasn't done it at a top league. Shouldn't be paying massive money for him. Not totally convinced. The other one, and the other opinion seemed to be, you really rate him. He's tall, 6'2", right-footed, goal scorer. A lot of people believe his future could be up front as well. And it looks as if Arsenal are definitely looking at him as a potential winger option. But of course, I think any deal for Gakpo or any winger would depend on Nicolas Pepe leaving the club. As of yet, doesn't seem to be linked with anyone at the moment. So we'll have to see what happens with that one. Thank you very much for tuning in, people. Really appreciate your support as usual. Couple of days or 3 days until the Premier League season starts. We are going to squeeze in a member stream, and obviously we'll be back on the watch-alongs as well. So make sure you tune in for that. You know, this is the best place to keep it locked for your AFC, Arsenal FC watch-alongs. So make sure you tune in for that. Really appreciate your support. We'll get a couple of live streams in. And once the season starts, we will get back into the live streams. The pre-recorded thing has been more for the transfer content over the summer. Big up to each and every one of you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. And I will see you all soon, people. Bless!